Hey there, Tolkien fans. This is Westron. Today we're taking a look at Thorin Oakenshield from the Bridge Direct's new Hobbit line. This is the 6-inch scale figure, and I paid, I think, $16.99 for him from Amazon.com. We're not going to do a packaging review because Amazon completely destroyed the packaging to fit it into the box. One thing you have to be careful when you order from Amazon, I don't know why they do it, but at least in my area, from my local DC, they a lot of times will physically destroy the package to fit it down inside a box, which is completely unacceptable. But I'm really tired of looking for this guy, so I'm not going to send him back. Normally I do when they do that sort of thing, but my area is not getting him in. So I've been wanting him, so I'm just letting him slide this time. But I did let him know that they did it again. So as I said, this is the 6-inch scale figure, and he's really impressive in terms of sculpt. Right out of the package, he kind of harkens back to the old Toy Biz line, which I thought was really impressive in terms of sculpt and articulation. His articulation is nowhere near as good as theirs, but he's definitely sculpt-wise and paint-wise looks pretty outstanding. Let's get a little closer here. Now the likeness to Thorin, as many have mentioned, doesn't look a great deal like Richard Armitage, I think is his name. I think maybe Richard has a little bit of a longer face, perhaps, but it could just be that there's a lot of paint on this guy's face. It's on a bit thick on the face, where maybe not so much in other areas, so it could be hiding some great sculpting. I don't know. Is that too bright? Let me see. Pull that down a little bit. How's that? Is that a little better? But yeah, it's certainly not bad. I think it's a pretty good mimicry of him, just not perfect. So everyone who wants to know, he does come with his dwarven sword, which is very cool. It kind of harkens back to the old Gimli weapons from the old Toy Biz line. You know, very angular, very sharp, look like more like hacking weapons than anything else, which is very cool. I like that. And they did paint the hilt and everything. Everything's very nicely done. Focus, you jerk. Come on. Okay, well, it's not wanting to focus right now. I don't know why it does this from time to time. It comes with the Oakenshield, which I don't really remember from the book, but I suppose it could have been mentioned at some point, but it might just be something they just threw in because they like to mess with stuff. It's got a little steel here on the end, perhaps, maybe iron, being that they're dwarves. And it just kind of tips the end of this log piece. And that kind of just plugs into his arm here. But then lastly, the most important piece that he comes with, here's the sheath for it, and you can see that there's very nice details on it. The elven-style details that you may remember from the old movies and stuff. This is Orcrest. And if you remember, Orcrest is the weapon that they find at the same time that they find Sting. And it's got the similar design to Sting on it. And I believe they're supposed to be like sister swords or something like that. Excuse me. So very cool design. I very much dig this. And it fits into the sheath very nicely. It sort of even clips in a little bit. And it's not really bulky. Like, they didn't make the sheath huge to fit it. So that's very cool. And these are not super flexible, so be careful with them. They're a bit of more rigid plastic, so do be careful. They could break, but they're very nice that they don't warp easily. And this has a plug that goes into a hole on his back, so you basically just kind of drop it and then look like a fool. Plug it into place, and then sort of twist it, just make sure it's locked in there pretty good. And then it kind of hangs on his back there. It does kind of, from the pictures I've seen so far, he does draw it over his right shoulder as opposed to his left, even though it's kind of more set up for a left-handed grab. I don't really know why they did that, but whatever, it's cool. So yeah, that's very cool. The weapons fit in the hands nicely. His sheath here is neat because when you put his dwarven blade in there and you kind of push it all the way in, you can see it meets really nicely with the sheath itself. So very cool. It almost like it was meant to fit it, kind of locks in. I like that. Now, the one of the big differences between this and the 4-inch figure, aside obviously from the scale and a little bit of the articulation, is that he comes with this coat. And it's very cool. It's like kind of gray and brown and blue. You can see there's like kind of a myriad of colors in there. It's very nice. It's got this real like leather look to it. I like it a lot. And then it's fur lined. So you can see there's some great detail on the fur. And then they painted that really well too. They kind of gave it some nice layering to really make it look like it's fur. Very cool stuff. On the rest of the figure you can see there's lots of patterns. And lots of great paintwork here. Some iron here on the belt and kind of a gold emblem in the middle. There's some mail here, but it doesn't appear to be mithril, or at least not mithril in the way that we're used to it from Bilbo's chainmail from the Lord of the Rings movies. More quilted pattern there. Very cool. And the boots are really neat too. They are kind of like leather and fur, and they have these clips, and then they have, you know, like this kind of brass on the tip to make steel toes. Very, very awesome. But the difference being the coat, of course, is what I started with. The coat can come off this figure, which is good because his articulation is pretty limited by it. And this is a little bit of stiff plastic, but not too bad. But basically, you can just slide it off. I kind of turn his arms in to do it. There we go. Slide his arm off, and pretty much when you have the coat on, his head is almost immobile. I mean, you can do very little with it. With it off, you can see he's got, you know, a nice range up and down, some side to side, left and right. Excuse me. So he's got a lot more range there, a little more in the arms and a lot more in the legs, because this is a softer plastic, so he can move a lot better. Not that he's got the best articulation in the world, but I guess we can go ahead and get into that now. As we showed to the head, up and down, side to side, twist. Swivel hinge shoulders. They go straight out, not much past that point, and it's not because of this, because this is a very soft plastic. Like, this can be bent very, very easily. It's just the sculpt, because if you turn this upside down, you start lifting up, you can see. So it's not like super limiting, because this is kind of a tubular designed arm, so you can just kind of turn it upwards and do things. But the back of the elbow here does have a little lip of plastic, so you can't fudge it completely. Swivel hinge elbows, they do bend to almost 90 degrees, not perfectly, but pretty good. And of course, spin around. Spins in the wrist. His left wrist seems to be pretty tight. I think his right one is a little more loose. Yeah, it's a little more loose, but they are blocked by the way this overlay of the armor works, where it kind of comes to a point over the fist. So realistically, you don't need to spin your hands upside down anyway, and if you can, oh my god, get in the Guinness Book of World Records, because you are a star, my friend. Swivel waist, so he's got a lot of action under there, very cool. He's got swivel hinge, swivel hinge legs here, hips, but they are at an angle, so you kind of have to twist them into the right spot, and then use the swivel hinge knees to get the legs right. I would much prefer they'd use standard ball joints on there with a socket that goes that way, so that we could just take them out to the side, but, you know, everybody's got to be a little weird with their articulation, so whatever. The hinges in the knees do not bend very far. They only go about that far back, which is kind of a bummer, because he does have a great joint there. You can see it's just blocked by the plastic, so I do recommend whenever you get this guy, because it is mostly covered anyway, go ahead and grab a knife and cut this plastic up. Cut it as much as you can. I may even make a video for this one, just to show you guys what I do, because he can move his knee more than that, and he should be able to, especially for being kind of an action-y type of character. You know, he's supposed to be a great warrior. The ankles are a little blocked going forward. Going back, they do a little bit better, and then they do have side to side, so they are swivel hinges as well. So, articulation-wise, the guy's pretty decent. He's not perfect, nowhere near the old, I guess I should say the later lines of Lord of the Rings, but pretty good on his own. Now, I haven't gotten the Gandalf yet or anything, but I do have Legolas here, so you can see next to an elf, he does seem a little tall, but that's not the fault of Thorin. I think it's just that Legolas is a bit short, because next to Gimli, he is right about the right size. He's a little bit taller, but I imagine he would be, considering I think at the time he would have been much older than Gimli, considering one of his squad mates is Gimli's dad. So let me just adjust that just a tad. So, but yeah, he looks good. Size-wise, and plus Gimli is a little hunched there. You know, his knees are a little bent. But just so you get the idea, next to the old Lord of the Rings figures, that he will fit in pretty well with them, even if Legolas is a bit short. But yeah, very nice figure. I dig this one. The Bridge Direct so far has been impressing me with their 6-inch line. Not completely in terms of articulation and everything, but the sculpt is very good. Paint has been very good. I'm very pleased so far. I can't wait to see what they have in store, including the upcoming, is it Yazneg or Azog or something? I can't remember. It's like different between the US and the UK. I don't know why. But yeah, hopefully they get to a lot of 6-inch figures. The 6-inch figures haven't really made it to my area, but I guarantee you they're going to fly off the shelves, or at least I hope they do. Because I'd love to see this line come in full force. But yeah, this is Thorin Oakenshield from the Bridge Directs, the Hobbit 6-inch line. Highly recommended. He should be $15 in stores, and for that price, he comes with a lot of accessories, so that's his big bonus there, his big saving grace, because he is, you know, he's a tiny figure, so just remember that whenever you decide to plunk down your cash for him, that $15 is quite a bit of cash. But yeah, his Sheath, I haven't tried this yet, but it doesn't seem to be sticking into the hole on his back as well, now that the jacket's off, so that's something to remember, but he may not actually wear it when the jacket's off, I'm not sure, but he does have this strap that goes all the way around, so I don't know yet, but excuse me, we will see when the movie comes out. A very good figure, pick him up. Check out infinitehollywood.com for more awesome news, reviews, and discussions. And comment, rate, and subscribe if you like what you see, or even if you don't. Let me know what you think. I appreciate it, guys. I'll talk to you soon.